Welcome back, everybody. We're gonna get straight into this. We're not beating around the bush here. First off, we're gonna talk about decisions. Decisions are something that everyone's gonna have to make every day. You make probably thousands of them throughout the day, consciously or not, you make them. You know, I've always found it very hard to make decisions. I'm not a very decisive person because I can't help but just be overwhelmed by the possible unconscious consequences that you're not aware of that could come and impact the decision you're making. And I've had to make some pretty big decisions this week in regards to what I want to do. And it's been a bit tough because it never feels like there's an ultimately right or ultimately wrong decision. It's just simply trades you make, and you got to weigh them up, which things matter to you more than others. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, that there's not always a right or wrong decision, and some decisions are reversible. So if you think you've changed your mind, that's okay. Getting into something a little deeper. Self-awareness. I don't know whether it's just me that suffers this, but I am chronically self-aware of everything I do. Every action I make has a second repercussive drum battering away, questioning why I did what I did, whether it was the right decision, whether it was the wrong decision. It's always there. And I just want to play a little trick on you guys right now. I want you to try and be aware of your own awareness. You know, being conscious is being aware and having the morality to choose between right and wrong and make decisions. Can you be aware of your own awareness? Just spend a couple of minutes trying to do that. Think of what the next thought in your head is going to be. What just pops in there? Being aware brutally of your own flaws, I think that's something that's hard to do. And if you're looking for someone just to tell you the truth and get to the answer of what you need to fix quickly, it's probably going to come from someone who's an enemy to you. If you even have enemies. I can't say that I do, but someone who's just going to be brutally honest with you. Okay, the next thing I want to mention is something from, once again, Chris Williamson. And it's the difference between obsession, motivation, and discipline. I mean, a lot of people seem to have obsession and motivation in the same boat, but they're completely different things. You know, motivation goes in spits and spats. It's not something that's always there, and it's like a want to do something. Whereas an obsession, Chris says, is a need to do something you just can't stop yourself from doing, something that is always within the realms of your thoughts. You know, I know my previous obsessions have been the gym, running, but the amount of energy, and if you had tokens to exchange for things you do, discipline is going to be the most token costing thing you can do. It's getting up at 5 AM every day for the first month, even though you don't want to. And then once that's an ingrained habit, whether you're obsessed about your wake up time, your sleep schedule, getting perfect sleep, or whatever it is you're obsessed about, lean into a little bit, as long as it's not something horrible, because very few people have, as Chris says, good obsession. Also, that movie Obsession, you need to watch that. And not to mention as well, Spider-Man is coming out, and The Odyssey. I need to watch them. I don't have enough time. I've seen none of those movies and I want to see them. So please watch one by next week, Sam. Next, we're going to talk about the greatest oral loss, I think, in history. This comes from a Roman warrior known as Coriolanus. Now, he was a great military hero. The people of Rome don't often get to meet these military heroes. They're more of people they hear stories of, bigger than reality figure, you know. He has lots of aura. From the stories that have been circulating around him, the great warrior stories. And one day he decides to run to be high rank of consul. This story is from Power, which is the current book I'm reading. I'm trying to make my way through it, but I'm just slow. He does this and gets involved with all the speech malarkey and talking and over talks himself and becomes quite rude and arrogant, and the people are able to see what the guy himself is actually like. He's rather rude, he's also not very democratic, he doesn't want to go towards that side of things, and long story short, if he just kept his mouth shut, he would have been okay. And I think there's certain times where we could all do with just chilling out a little bit. Everyone always wants to talk about themselves, so it's okay to just be there and ask questions. You don't have to be the most interesting person in the room, you just have to be the best listener. If he had just kept his mouth shut, he probably would have won that election because of the images people have created in their head about him. Don't lose all your aura like Coriolanus. Chill out. Anyway, the next thing I want to talk about is a little thing Alex Hormozy mentioned, is laying the foundation for what it is you're wanting to do. If you're trying to build a business, as Alex Hormozy does a lot, building a $1 million business or whatever he says is different to building a $100 million business. And I think we can translate and map this onto goals. If the goal you have is to make a set amount of money, or whatever it is, or run a certain amount, different time scales are required to compete different goals. If you had unlimited supply of blocks and only had 5 seconds to stack it as tall as possible, you'd probably get 5 up there. 5 blocks up. But if you had unlimited time, you'd make the foundation as wide as possible so you could keep going higher and higher. And sometimes that's what you got to do in life. You got to wait and be a little bit patient. They're not inherent human characteristics of patience. It's more to go get it, get the next thing, and then the next thing, and keep looking at this just hedonic treadmill of wants. How humans evolve, to be honest. Always just going after the next thing and never accepting for what they've got. Something I want to call the hedonic treadmill of standards. I feel like constantly my standards are being raised higher than what I can achieve, and I'm always trying to reach it, but I'm never there. I'm very conscious of this. I know I do this to myself a lot. It's the thing that keeps me pushing, I guess. Sometimes I think it's okay to accept that you did something good and you should be proud of yourself, you know? I find that hard to do. Very little good generally comes from condemning other people or criticizing them every chance that maybe they might deserve it. But very little good comes from it because it just puts the person on the defensive. And it's so easy to condemn and criticize someone, and it's much harder to look for the positives in someone. So I want you guys to keep that in mind as you leave this video, to look for the positives in people who are around you, what they're doing well, because it's so easy to see the faults and complain. It is just a self-sorrow, pitiful loop you're going to end up in, which gets you nowhere. So keep that in mind as we close out this video. I know there's been no book this week. I'm working on it. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, peace.